And this is some previous footage from playing Fragment. This was shot on August the 19th, as you saw on the previous screen. Hello everybody, a grumpy old guy gaming here. And this was a bit of a surprise to me. I wasn't even planning on recording this particular time. As you could see, my character there, my Wave Master Dionysius from the Learning to Die Less series, had logged in to just run a dungeon with my wife, who's playing the purple female Wave Master there. Her name is Luna, Wave Master Luna there, and she was the first one to notice Twilight Tarot standing there. I was a bit distracted at the moment and really hadn't noticed him, as his head sits directly on top of where her character model is. So eventually I looked over and noticed the NPC got that New Year's event. This was a bit of a surprise for me. I didn't know at the time that seasonal events were even playable in Fragment. I would later find out through my investigations that yeah, you could go ahead and queue these things up. They trigger randomly on the servers. Bit more detail to come in this video on that. Still not sure on the specifics, and near as I could gather, most people aren't. But we talked it over for a second and decided to take a look in level 80 field. Much stronger than us at the time. I believe our total level combined was 9, but you kinda gotta take a look at these once in a lifetime things. And this is footage I had picked up just the previous day, September the 12th. I am playing Grump Ogai, my long arm alternate, and logged in to MacAnu here on the Malston server. That's the server that I've built and was sort of how I figured out the basics of the area server, and there's Twilight Tarot inviting me to the same New Year's event. Kinda bewildered me for several reasons. Didn't expect to see another event 3 weeks later, and definitely didn't expect another New Year's event, but there it is. Level 80 Waterfield again, and this time I'm playing solo, so the footage won't be near as choppy as the original was. I decided to give it the old college try, hoping against hope that whatever would trigger the event would be in the opening room of this dungeon. Last time did not make it there. I uttered the dreaded phrase, avoid the portals, let's just get to the dungeon, and then immediately tripped a monster that killed me in relative haste. So this time I'm going out of my way to be cautious. I throw a speed charm up so I could easily outrun any wandering monsters, and I am making a very wide berth on any of the portals. Pretty tight cluster around the dungeon there, but there is that little opening. Pick up a couple symbols, not that I think they'll help, but they don't hurt, and they were on the way. I do pass up the chance to pick up some white cherries, which were this field's grunty food. If you look around, there's all sorts of, frozen sort of icicles and mammoths frozen over. Sort of a neat field. Coming up on the dungeon here, and it looks to have its roof partially collapsed by a mammoth that was walking over it. But we'll go in nonetheless. Again, I'm just sort of hoping that this first room has some sort of NPC or something to trigger it. And inside we will find nothing! We will find an empty corridor. That's usually how these things work. Typically events like this are in the bottom floor of a dungeon, and I do not have any hope of succeeding at this point. Get to our first portal, which I'm thinking is game over, but it turns out to be a trapped chest. So let's go ahead and pop it open, because a trapped chest in a dungeon this high is bound to have something useful. There's some mountain boots. Not the most exciting choice of footwear, but certainly better than the frost anklet I'm wearing. At least that's how I was feeling at the time. For those of you who are screaming at the screen that the Snow Panther is better than both of those, you are right, and I would later switch to them. But in the meantime, this gave me enough physical defense to justify throwing on this Frost Bracer. Again, just sort of haphazardly going at it here, just sort of seeing what I could find. And we have another portal in this next room, and that certainly looks like game over to me. That is a dark asteroid, as you could see there from that little snippet. It's completely immune to dark damage and has over 6,000 attack. It hits me for over 500. I am down in 1 second. Not the best look for me, but that's what happens when you tangle with something at level 80.